Hi creative friends, this is Soraya and thank you so much for being here. So as you can see, this spread is, it's well on its way, but it's perfect for me to illustrate what I want to make this video about, which is positive space and negative space. So in art, the positive space refers to either a figure or a shape, say in abstract art, or the tangible thing that your eye is going to focus on. And the negative space is often the background or the space surrounding the object. So in art, a lot of times we tend to focus more on the positive space, but it's actually a balance between the positive space and the negative space. And a lot of times the negative space can be even more important than the positive space. So in any dynamic piece of art, an interesting emotional piece of art, the negative space has as much weight as the positive space, and there's going to be tension and balance and harmony as well. So let us see what we can do here. Now, as you can see, I went for a full-on blue face body here, and I'm absolutely loving it. Now, the thing is, I love so much of this background that I don't want to cover it up. Like, I just don't. But I have to cover it up because it's going to allow the subject to have the resonance that it needs to. And what I mean by that is, and I've said this before, there has to be a supporting role, because if everything is the star, if all the elements are the star, then nothing is the star. So if, these shapes and patterns and luscious lines and colors, all of this stuff that I love, if there's, this and this and this and this and this and, etc., if all of these have equal weight, then nothing has equal weight. So I know some of these principles that I'm putting forth are contradicting each other, but we have to be able to hold paradox in our minds in order to create art that has that tension. It has to have balance and tension, and those are opposites, and it might seem like a paradox, but we hold these paradoxes equally. So I hope I'm making sense and I'm not just rambling on. But if there are any questions, please leave them in my comment section, and I will do my best to answer them or make another video to explain what I'm saying. Anyways, let's dive right into this. So like I said, I do not want to cover up the background. I'm going to be so reticent to cover everything up in the background, but I have to. And when I say everything, I'm probably going to keep some parts, like, because this is an abstract piece, I'm not going for any kind of realism, with her blue face here, especially leading the way. So I am going to keep some of these parts, and, they can be just shapes. They don't have to be anything. And like I've also said this before, like once I cover something up, I can't get it back. But if I keep it, I can always cover it up later if it's not working out. So I decided to go with a very, very dark blue. I don't know if I'm going to go with a Prussian blue. I think I might be feeling a Prussian blue. So I'm just going to put some on my palette. And this one is a French paint, and I picked it up when I was traveling, and I love Prussian blue, by the way. It's just a dark, delicious, rich blue. Okay, here goes, you guys. I don't want to cover up, all of these pieces, but I'm going to. And now I want you to see, just by me covering up parts of the painting that I don't want to, how it's really going to change the whole vibe of the spread. And I comfort myself by just saying, you know what, it's still there. I can't see it, but it's part of the whole. And each step brings me closer to the finished piece. So even though it makes me so sad, we're just gonna kind of be brave and cover up all of this beauty here. Now, I don't know if these, pieces that I've left, I don't know if it's going to resonate with the piece, but, I can always cover it up later. So do you see now how all of this just pops, as opposed to before there was just too much going on? Now this is going to be a bit tricky, and I don't know if this Prussian blue is going to work with this figure because she's blue, but I think it's going to actually complement it really well. And I'm really digging it already. And so I'm going to cover this up as well. And I'm just going to turn this around just to make it a little bit easier for me here. And turning your work upside down is a great way for you to look at things in a more abstract way. And it'll give you perspective, actually, because now you're not so focused on the positive space, but you're looking at things like in a more detached way, I guess. So I'm just going to leave those parts for now. Well, I don't know. You know what? I'm going to cover it up. I was going to keep that, but I think I'm going to cover up. Well, I'll cover up some of it anyways. And I think I'm going to keep this white of the circle here because I'm really feeling it for now anyways. And so do you see now how the figures are really becoming more prominent? But because I've left some of these shapes, it, the background still has interest. And I have this idea in my head that I'm going to use some of my Posca markers once this is completely dried to, add some interest to the background. So I'm going to cover all of this up here. And I'm just going to, I want to make sure that like this is like a flat field of color here in the back. And I don't know what color I want to make this face and neck of the figure over here, because I might actually go with a burnt sienna, like a realistic skin tone, and maybe that'll like provide a little bit of contrast. So within this story, this could be a person, and this could be like, say, a figment of their imagination or a part of themselves that's more, in another realm. So it could be like a memory, or like I think about these things when I am working in my art journal. Like I have a story that I want to convey. So in this story, like this could be, you know, a child, or maybe that could be their inner child in blue. And so can you see now how this really pops? Whereas before I loved so much of what was going on in the background, but it was all competing and it was too much. So it wasn't working. And what I'm going to do is just lay some of that burnt sienna down there. And I'm going to spread it all over like so. And this burnt sienna just contrasts so beautifully with any kind of blue really, but especially this Prussian blue. It's just such a contrast in terms of the ultra warm of the burnt sienna with the cool Prussian blue, and also the value. So it gives it that extra kind of like a dramatic kind of a feeling, which I love. And what I am going to do over here is just add a little bit of definition. And I'm using my Pitt pen. It's P-I-T-T, and it's Faber-Castell, I believe. And just kind of gonna give it a little bit of definition here. Okay, you guys, I'm going to allow this to completely dry, and then I am going to come back and work on it. But I hope this is a good introduction into positive space and negative space and how they are both important. So if you've watched all the way to the end, thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.